All right, hello. I am here to give you a summary on Chapter 4 Psychological Foundations of Curriculum. So, in this chapter, we discussed really three main theories that are used in education. And this kind of drives how teachers think about their students, how the curriculum is presented to them. And they go through all these different strategies and ways that these theories are presented in the classroom. So the first one that I'm going to look at is behaviorism. And this is where students can make connections, build positive experiences. Okay, but also it's that step-by-step instruction. Okay, so in this section, they talked about lots of other parts. They broke it down, connectionism, okay, where this is readiness, and what this looks like for me in my class is this kind of operation of I do it at the front, I'm teaching, we do it together for practice, and then you do it on your own. So this works for me with the math class that I'm in, especially with the modified setting. I don't get a lot of feedback from the students when I start asking these questions that are not so concrete. So this is kind of the format that works out best for me in that setting. All right, going into the instructional settings. Oh, I didn't put anything in there. I'm just going to talk about it. So the instructional settings is learning through observations. So they talked about how students, when they are watching somebody, they are able to observe and they can learn those things. And definitely, I want to show my students other things besides just the curriculum that I'm teaching, but that I'm there on time, that I'm prepared, I'm ready to help them. I know what we're going to be doing. So they're learning about those things as well as the curriculum that I'm teaching them. The other one is the reinforcement there. So they talked about Pavlov and just that being able to reinforce and know what's coming next and be able to do what we need to do and the reward. Okay, so then in the classroom setting, this is going to be, getting that good grade, understanding what is being taught. Also on here, they have analysis and sequence of learners' needs and behavior. So that kind of stuck out to me, especially as a special education teacher, to say, this is where my students are. Okay, and we need to build up step by step to get them where we'd like them to be. And maybe we're looking at the IEP to do that. Maybe we're looking at their goals, benchmarks. So this kind of really stood out, especially for the special educator and just how we're thinking about the curriculum and getting it to the students. All right. That's not what I wanted. Prezi, getting all crazy on me. Okay. Okay. Next up is cognitive. All right. So cognitive is how to reason, generate theories. It's more in line with what's actually going on the inside, not so much the outside stimulus, but what's going on inside the brain. So on here, we had some pretty awesome people that contributed to this theory. Of course, we have the monastery in there, creating nourishing environments for intellectual development. I happen to love looking at classrooms like this. I think that's awesome and so rich for the students. And then we have Jean, and she broke things down into stages, showing that each level was a different stage for them to develop. At this age, they should be doing this and moving on until that adulthood stage. Okay. Also, she has set up environments so kids can create experiences and they're learning through those experiences. Okay, and then we have Howard Gardner talking about different intelligences and then the value that they contribute. So I really like this, especially dealing with some different learners in my setting, and just knowing that everybody has different intelligences. Going back to something my mom would always say is there's book smarts versus street smarts, and this kind of like reminded me of um, that smart doesn't just mean one thing. Okay, we can have differences and still be um, smart or intelligent. And then we have just kind of the overall, what I kind of took from this is critical thinking can be taught and have students use a different language here. So not just guessing, but make a prediction and don't just give me your opinion on that, but show me evidence and stuff. I feel like that was just such a great way to promote learners in the classroom. You're not just sitting here, we're involved in making decisions about the curriculum and where that's going to lead us next. All right, let's see if I can get out of this screen. Whoop. Our next and third topic that they talked about for theories is, oh, I'm going to try really hard to get this right, phenomenology and humanistic. Okay. And for here, I kind of had some main points pointed out, looking at a total person and the power that I have. So, looking at not just when you're at school and in your seat and what I'm teaching you here, but also those things that are going on outside of here. So, what's going on in the world and things like that. All right, so with Gestalt theory, looking for patterns in a problem as a whole. So we're not just focused on one thing, but we say what caused that? Well, what's the reasoning behind it? Next, how we think about ourselves and affects who we are. So this brought in the positive mindset. If I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, then I'm probably not going to. I spend a lot of time with this, especially when I was in the middle school level, talking about positive mindset. I still work on it with my high school students. I feel like I see it a lot more in the special ed, like the modified classes, as opposed to our teachers in that like the honors curriculums and things like that, where their students come in and they're feeling a little bit more positive. I got this. Um, Maybe something they might not have to work on as much. Also, we have a Maslow and his hierarchy of needs. I thought this was kind of cool because we talked about this in a family consumer science class last quarter, and I got to teach it a little bit to the students. So kind of cool that we were bringing that into them. I'm talking about human qualities and the concern for the development of that. Also, we have Carlo Rogers and talking about creating positive relationships. This is so huge right now, especially in our day and age with COVID and everything, our students being remote and only here half time, making the connections with the students and letting things happen as they happen. So those really good conversations, those rich conversations that you have with the students that might not be written down on the lesson plan, but of course are helping them grow as a person and having them think outside the box and create these ideas on their own. Have our little positive mindset here. Woo woo. There's nothing in it. But
Are you still recording?
so then my thoughts, my takeaway from this, my afterthoughts. There are good qualities in each of these theories. I found myself picking pieces out from every one that I kind of bring into my teaching. I lean toward behavioralism when I'm looking at my modified math class. But then once I go and I'm able to work in the gen ed setting as well every once in a while, I see myself leaning more to the phenomenology theory, and that's really bringing in the students' opinions and their thoughts on things and letting them kind of drive the instruction on where I go next. Then I have my two little takeaways here on the side. Okay, that I really want to try to get more critical thinking out of my students versus ordinary, using those words, estimate, evaluate, grasp, um, just to have them kind of feel a little bit more connected in the classroom. And lastly, it's okay to go off script in the classroom, let conversations that provoke thinking happen. Um, when I was an earlier teacher, like in my first years, I thought that I had to stick to the script and we weren't allowed to have those conversations because they were off topic. And now just kind of just growing as a teacher, I know that those are just as important sometimes as what is planned on the lesson.